What we'll be making today is this beautiful gold chevron pattern table runner for a dining room table. You can make it with an overhang or without. I chose to make mine with. So you'll need to start off with a stencil. I'm making a stencil out of frosted contact paper that I got from the dollar store. And what we're drawing is a 14-inch by 4-inch rectangle. What we need is 2-inch by 2-inch square boxes. And since our table runner is going to be 14 inches wide, that's why I've chosen this length. So we'll just mark off every 2 inches. And then create our boxes. And what we're going to do is draw lines from corner to corner in the boxes to create a zigzag pattern. Then you're going to repeat this step on the top section of boxes. You'll need to cut out your pattern using an X-Acto knife and a ruler. Make sure that you get all the way into the corners so that you have a nice, clean, crisp pattern. I had to go back over a few of my pattern pieces because I didn't quite cut all the way through. So you're going to have to measure your table. My dining room table is about 70 inches in length. So I'm going to make about 70 inches plus 5 on each side for overhang, because I like that. If you don't want an overhang, you can make a shorter table runner. So I'm gonna cut the fabric just as wide as it came in the bolt, and then or as long, sorry, as it came in the bolt, and then I'm gonna cut it 14 inches wide. So you're just gonna measure 14 inches and fold your fabric over on itself. If it's a little bit under, that will be perfect because our stencil is exactly 14. Okay, and make sure it all lines up. The edges line up. And then we're going to take our iron and we're just going to run it over this edge here. So the fabric we're using is a cotton fabric, and it's sort of a tablecloth fabric. You could use a linen or a canvas or whatever you have available to you. So right now I'm just ironing all the wrinkles out of the fabric and making sure I have enough for 2 14-inch panels. I'm just going to check over my measurements one more time before I cut my panels. So we're going to cut along the edge that we folded to. And then we're going to unfold our piece of fabric and we're going to cut along our crease down the middle to make our 2 panels of fabric. we're going to take one of the panels and fold it in half, iron it, and cut it. The reason we don't want to have a seam going down the middle of our table runner is because everyone's attention will be drawn to it. So instead we're going to make 3 panels, 2 short ones on the side and 1 long one in the middle. You could just buy a really long bolt of fabric, but that's going to get really expensive. Next, you'll need to create a hem along one of the smaller panels of fabric. And here's where the no-sew comes in. We're going to take this glue, there's different kinds you can get, and we're going to glue along that hem line to attach this to the larger panel. I got my glue from the dollar store, but you can get it at Walmart or any local craft store. And then we'll just continue the process with the second small panel. Then you're going to have to just let your panels dry for a bit. So you can remove the back of your contact paper from your stencil, and we're going to lay it down right along one of the edges of our table runner. It might take you a few tries to get it in the proper place that you want it. Make sure that you get it fully stuck down and always paint away from the stencil, not towards it, because you don't want any paint bleeding underneath the stencil. Gently remove your stencil. And then you can use the lines on your stencil to line up the next pattern. The paint I used was a regular acrylic paint, but if you want to put your table runner through the washing machine, I suggest you use a fabric paint. We're just going to continue on like this all the way to the end of the table runner. It might be a good idea to make 2 stencils. That way you can let the paint dry on one of the stencils and alternate between the 2 so that paint doesn't smudge on your white fabric. Once you get to the end of your fabric, you can choose whether you want to cut the stencil off at your last chevron pattern Or for mine, I did like a 3/4 of one of the patterns because my stencil cut off. Okay, so now that we have our whole pattern done, it looks great. And what we need to do to finish this up, since it is a no-sew project, is take our glue that we used at the beginning and a paintbrush and just take a little bit and go along the edges just to make sure that it doesn't fray, because it is a knit fabric, so it will start to fray over time. And if you want to throw it in the wash, say you're using fabric paint and somebody spills something on it at dinner, you just don't want it to fray when you're washing it. So once we're done gluing all around the entire edge of the runner, then you're just going to take your scissors and you're going to snip off the little frays, and then you're going to put it on your table. And if it needs an iron, go ahead and do that. Well, thanks for watching my tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel below, and have a great day.